Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk to you about how I fueled for the Manchester City Marathon, where I ran 2:58. Carb Talks with Carter. So I knew that the Manchester City Marathon would take me around 3 hours. And I also know that you can absorb about 100 grams of carbohydrates per hour. You can really get up to 120, but that's pretty pushing it. So my plan was to have enough gels with me to consume 100 grams of carbohydrates per hour, so 300 total grams of carbohydrates. With that being said, you don't start taking gels right away, and you also, I don't take them in the last 20 minutes of the race, because at that point, is it really gonna work? So there's a really crucial, 2 hours and 15 minutes that I needed to fuel with carbohydrates. In the past races, I've always used Cliff gels. They taste pretty good, but the one problem is that they're pretty sticky and you need to take them with water. Otherwise you get stomach upsetness, weird mouth feel. And I didn't want to have to worry about water when I was fueling for this race because I wanted to be able to take carbohydrates whenever. And so that's where these cool new hydrogels come in, and there's two main makers of those. There's Precision Fuel and Hydration and Maurten. So these gels are very airy, liquidy, and the big sell is that you don't need to take water with them. They go down in the stomach very well. They absorb through the gut into your bloodstreams. I think that you can get a lot more down and you don't need to worry about water. For my 50K that I did in August, I used these Precision Fuel and Hydration gels, PF 90. These have 90 grams of carbohydrates in just one container, which is super sick because it has a little screw lid, so I can just sip on this for an hour. And that's what I did for my 50K, but I didn't want to carry a bunch of these big, heavy PF 90 gels with me for Manchester. So I ended up going with Maurten Gel 160. Now, people are affiliated with different gels. I'm not, because, I only have 100 subscribers. They'll make you try to, they make it seem like one gel is better than the other. I think Precision and Maurten are pretty equal at the top. I think they're far ahead of the others I've tried, at least, but they're pretty equal in my book. But I went with Maurten simply because of the packaging and because my girlfriend could get me half off because she works at a running shoe store. And so my plan was to take these Maurten Gel 160s without caffeine and then take a couple of Maurten Gel 100s with caffeine that are 25 grams of carbohydrates. So because I wanted the option to take up to 300 grams of carbohydrates total throughout the race because of that 100 grams per hour for 3 hours, I ended up bringing 6 of these Maurten 160s, which are 40 grams each, that's 240 grams of carbs, plus 2 of the Maurten 100 with 100 milligrams of caffeine that are 25 grams each. That would add up to another 50 for 290 grams total. I ended up consuming 5 Maurten Gel 160s and 2 Maurten Gel 100s with 100 milligrams caffeine for a total of 250 grams of carbohydrates in my race. So not 100 grams per hour, but I took my first gel 30 minutes in, and then took one every 20 to 30 minutes after that, and took my last one with about 20 minutes to go. So I basically consumed 250 grams of carbs in 2 hours time, which is pushing that max limit of 120, actually 125 grams of carbs per hour. And I was really happy with that. And I gotta tell you, I did not fade at all at the end of that race, which was awesome. And I think it has a huge part to do with my fueling strategy. If you're properly fueled, I think that it's a complete game changer. The Swap podcast with David and Megan Roach talks about their food doping, and I was really happy with how I was able to consume carbohydrates. Now, I think most of us think of carbs as just we use it to produce energy, to produce ATP, and that's definitely the biggest part. But I think that there's a lot of underlayered signaling in our cells that occurs, and if you want to stick around for some more sciencey but more hand wavy theory that I have out there, I'm gonna get into that now. So I actually do research in a lab that studies turnover of mitochondria. I think a big misconception is that each cell has one mitochondria, and that's because of the picture we look at when we're in freshman year biology in high school. But that's where we actually do all this conversion of carbs to ATP. It's our moneymaker. It's how we run. Usually the fitter runner is the runner that has more mitochondria. It's something that we don't always think about, but as you run more, you increase the amount of mitochondria in your cells. However, mitochondria in your cells also decreases, and a main part of that is through starvation. When you starve, you want to conserve energy, and so your body sends out a bunch of signals to start decreasing your number of mitochondria. Now, whether that can happen over the course of a marathon, which is, only 3 hours for me, is very up for debate. Honestly, a lot of people don't talk about it, but I think at the very least they're signaling to decrease cellular respiration when your body is in a calorie deficit, which occurs during a marathon if you don't fuel at all. It's not just a breakdown of glycogen. I think that there's a lot more happening, but if you consume a bunch of carbs, I think your mitochondria are going to be big and strong. They're going to be, the furnace is going to be hot, and you're going to be able to run hard. And I think there's something to that. And so, yeah, I would definitely recommend eat as many carbs as you can, especially for a marathon, but even more so for ultras. Yeah, some of you wanted to hear about my strategy for fueling during the marathon. That's it. I took 5 Maurten Gel 100 or Maurten Gel 160s. Every 25-ish minutes, starting at 30 minutes in. And then I took 2 Maurten Gel 100s with 100 milligrams caffeine at mile 16 and at mile 22, I believe, with 1 Maurten Gel 160 in there, I think. And I just took that caffeine to help me mentally, really, when I take caffeine and it hits, I start talking a lot. It gets a lot easier for me, but I can't handle more than 200 milligrams caffeine, so I save them for the end. And yeah, that was my plan. I think it's pretty standard now with the research out there. You need to fuel more. I think 100 grams of carbs per hour while you're taking gels is a great way to think about it. And I hope that you liked that. I think it's a big game changer, especially in training. It's something I need to get better at. It's a bummer because gels are expensive, but I'm hoping to try out some cheaper alternatives for gels. Maybe more on that in the winter or next spring as I start to kick up training a little more. But I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe. We just got over 100 subscribers, which I'm very happy about. Yeah, huge growth for my first year of the channel. I'll have a video coming out in the coming weeks, recapping my 2023 season and my goals for 2024. But I have one thing left in the 2023 season. That's some mile/5K training because, I don't want to run far, but I got some fitness in me from a marathon. I was able to recover pretty well. So I'm just doing a couple of runs a week that are short workouts and hopefully try to get as close to 5 minutes in the mile as I can and break 18 minutes in the 5K. I have a 5K coming up in December 17th, I believe. I'll do a track mile time trial soon. I'll make videos on this, but hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, keep on running. Thank you.